Welcome back, everyone, to the deep dive. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. So today, we're going to be looking at this idea you might not have heard of before.
Okay.
It's called Satyanishtha.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a Sanskrit word. And we're going to unpack it, figure out what it means, where it comes from.
Yeah.
And here's the really cool part, how it can actually guide your life.
Yeah.
Like today, in the modern world.
I like it.
Yeah. And to help us with all this, we're going to be using this super insightful article from aj-astrology.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that one. It's really fascinating.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm already hooked, so let's jump right in. What is Satyanishtha?
Well, like a lot of Sanskrit words, Satyanishtha has a lot of layers of meaning.
Oh, okay.
So Satya means truth.
Okay.
And Nishtha means like a strong dedication or commitment.
Right.
So you put them together and we're talking about a deep dedication to truth. But it's not just about what you say,
Right.
It's about making sure your thoughts, your words, and your actions all line up with that truth.
It's like walk the talk, right?
Exactly.
Like we all know how annoying it is when somebody's saying one thing but doing something totally different.
Yeah, totally.
Makes you wonder if they can be trusted at all, right?
Absolutely. It's about integrity.
Totally. Satyanishtha seems to be all about bridging that gap between what you say and what you do.
Exactly. And the cool thing is that this whole idea isn't new.
Oh, really?
It's all over ancient Indian texts.
Like what?
Like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana.
Oh, wow, those epic stories, yeah.
Filled with heroes and battles and impossible decisions.
Okay, so Satyanishtha is in those stories. I'm curious, what kind of role does it play?
Well, you see characters like Yudhishthira from the Mahabharata and Lord Rama from the Ramayana.
Right.
They're seen as the embodiment of Satyanishtha.
Wow.
They face these impossible choices, but they never stray from their commitment to truth.
Even when it's hard?
Even when it costs them everything.
That's pretty intense. Could you imagine being in a situation where telling the truth could ruin everything?
Yeah.
And still choosing to be honest?
Yeah.
It really makes you think about how strong your own convictions are.
It's a powerful concept for sure.
Yeah.
And, this idea goes beyond just those stories.
Really?
The article talks about how Satyanishtha is also tied to this idea of aligning yourself with ultimate reality.
Well, okay.
A concept that's explored a lot in texts like the Upanishads.
Okay, so we're getting into some deep philosophical waters here.
A little bit.
What do the Upanishads say about truth?
They basically emphasize its power, its importance. There's this famous quote from the Mundaka Upanishad that says, Satyameva Jayate.
What's that mean?
It means truth alone triumphs.
Wow, that's a powerful statement.
It is.
And it's not just an ancient saying either, right?
It's actually India's national motto.
Oh, wow, really?
It just goes to show you how important this idea of truth is to Indian culture and thought.
That's really amazing. It makes you realize that this ancient wisdom is still super relevant today.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've talked about epics and ancient texts.
Right.
But what about the practical side of things? How does Satyanishtha actually play out in, everyday life?
Well, the article makes this connection between Satyanishtha and the concept of dharma.
Dharma.
Yeah.
Okay, that's another big word. Can you break that down a little?
Yeah. So dharma is often translated as duty or the moral law of the universe.
Right.
Basically, it's all about living in a way that creates harmony and balance, both within yourself and in the world around you.
So doing the right thing.
Yeah, even when it's hard.
Gotcha. So by practicing Satyanishtha, you're essentially aligning yourself with this principle of living in harmony.
That's a great way to put it.
Cool.
And this idea that truth is essential for living ethically.
Yeah.
That's also found in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali.
Hold on, Yoga Sutras, as in the yoga we do in studios.
Yep, that's right. So the Yoga Sutras have these ethical guidelines called the yamas.
Huh?
And truthfulness, or satya, is one of them.
Right.
So it's not just about the poses. It's about cultivating a truthful way of being.
That's so interesting. It really makes you think about yoga in a whole new light.
I know, right?
So we've talked about truth in our thoughts and actions. But what about in our relationships with other people? How does Satyanishtha come into play there?
Well, think about it this way.
Okay.
When you're truthful with someone, you're basically saying, hey, you can trust me. You're building this foundation of honesty and transparency.
Right.
And that's so essential for any healthy relationship.
That's so true. There's nothing worse than feeling like someone's not being straight with you.
Right.
It really erodes that trust.
Yeah.
you know?
Absolutely.
I remember this one time I had to have this really difficult conversation with a friend.
Oh, yeah. It can be so hard to have those conversations.
It really can't.
But, think about how much stronger that trust becomes when you're willing to be honest, like even when it's tough, Yeah, it really does. I remember I was so tempted to just like avoid the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
Or just try to like sugarcoat things.
Right.
But I knew like deep down that being truthful was the only way we could actually move forward,
Yeah.
And you know what? It actually ended up making our friendship even stronger.
That's a perfect example of Satyanishtha in action. It's not always easy, but it's the key to building those real, authentic connections.
Yeah, for sure. And, this whole idea of truthfulness, it's not just about our personal lives.
Right. It goes way beyond that.
The article also talks about the impact of Satyanishtha on a much larger scale, like for society as a whole.
Exactly. Imagine a society where leaders are known for their integrity and honesty.
Yeah.
Where everything they do is transparent and all their decisions are based on what's truly best for everyone.
Okay. Yeah, I can see how that would create a much more trusting and stable environment.
It's like if you know your leaders are being straight up and honest with you, you're way more likely to trust their decision.
Exactly, even if you don't always agree with them.
Right, exactly. And on the flip side, when truth is missing,
oh yeah,
in those social and political spheres,
it creates this breeding ground for all the bad stuff. Corruption, mistrust, instability.
We see it all the time, right?
All the time.
It's kind of scary, and especially these days.
Oh, tell me about it.
With the internet and social media.
It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Seriously. We're constantly bombarded with information from every direction. It can be so hard to know what to believe.
It really is.
It feels like everyone has their own version of the truth.
The article actually talks about this. It says that practicing Satyanishtha in the modern world, with all the news and opinions and social media,
it's a lot.
It's more challenging than ever.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Exactly.
And I feel that every day, just overwhelmed with all the information.
Yeah, I hear you.
I bet our listeners do too.
Yeah, for sure.
It's exhausting trying to sift through it all and figure out what's actually true.
It is. So how do we stay grounded in truth when it feels like we're drowning in all this noise?
Right. Where do we even begin?
Well, the article suggests starting with self-awareness.
Okay.
Like, take some time to actually think about your own values and beliefs. What do you hold to be true?
Okay.
And are your actions actually lining up with those beliefs?
So it's about checking in with yourself.
Yeah.
And making sure you're walking the talk, even when it's crazy out there.
You got it.
I like that.
But it's not enough to just look inward.
Oh. What else is there?
We also need to be active in how we look for the truth.
Okay.
Not just passive consumers of whatever's thrown at us.
And what do you mean by that?
It means questioning your sources.
Okay.
Considering different perspectives, even if they make you uncomfortable.
Right.
Being willing to change your mind when you see new evidence. I know. But don't just blindly accept something because it fits into what you already believe.
It's so easy to fall into those echo chambers, though.
Oh, I know it is.
Where everyone just agrees with you.
Yeah. You're not going to find the truth there, though.
Right. So true. And this applies to our work lives, too, right?
Absolutely.
The article talks about upholding ethical work practices.
Yeah, being transparent in all your dealings and holding yourself accountable for your actions.
That reminds me of this company I really admire.
Oh, yeah.
They're known for being super honest and transparent, even when it's tough. And their customers are like crazy loyal because of it.
I bet.
It's like Satyanishtha can actually give you an edge in the business world.
It's true. When companies put integrity first, it builds trust with everyone.
Customers, employees, investors.
Everyone.
It's a win-win.
For sure.
So we've talked about personal relationships, the impact on society, even the workplace.
Lots of ground covered.
Are there any, real-world examples of people who truly embody Satyanishtha?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I could use some inspiration.
Well, the article mentions a few. One that immediately comes to mind is Mahatma Gandhi.
Gandhi, the leader of India's independence movement.
That's right. His whole philosophy of satyagraha was deeply rooted in Satyanishtha.
Okay. What was satyagraha again?
It basically means devotion to truth or truth force. Gandhi truly believed that sticking to truth and nonviolence was the most powerful way to fight injustice.
Wow, so he wasn't just talking about truth, he was actually living it.
He was.
And in the face of some pretty intense opposition.
Yeah, he was up against a lot.
It's amazing how Satyanishtha goes beyond just personal virtue.
I know. It's powerful stuff.
It can actually shape history.
It really can.
And Gandhi's a historical figure.
Yeah.
But are there any examples from today?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Modern-day people who embody this.
Well, the article talks about Warren Buffett.
Oh, yeah, I know that name. He's like one of the most successful investors ever, right?
That's him.
Yeah.
And a big part of his success comes from his commitment to integrity in business. He's known for being super transparent with his shareholders and his ethical investment practices.
So he's not just about making money, he's about making it the right way.
Exactly.
That's pretty awesome.
It's a great example of how Satyanishtha can be applied in the business world, even at the very top.
It really is. It's incredible to see this pattern, you know?
What do you mean?
From ancient heroes and spiritual leaders to like modern-day business icons.
Yeah.
The people who really make a difference in the world, they all seem to share this deep commitment to truth.
It makes you wonder.
Makes you wonder if embracing Satyanishtha is like unlocking this whole other level of living, like a life with purpose and real impact.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's definitely a key ingredient for sure.
Yeah.
When you're rooted in truth, you've got a strong foundation to build on. Your actions match up with your values.
Right.
Relationships are built on trust. And you're way more likely to make decisions that not only help you, but also help everyone around you.
That's a great way to put it. I'm feeling pretty inspired. But, you know, I think it's important to remember.
What's that?
That like fully embracing Satyanishtha, it's probably a lifelong journey.
For sure.
It's not like you just flip a switch and suddenly you're like perfectly truthful in every part of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
You're not going to be perfect all at once.
Right. It's a process.
It's all about striving for honesty and integrity in everything you do.
Yeah.
Showing up authentically, even when it's tough, and giving yourself a break when you mess up.
That's so important.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, we're all human.
We are.
We all make mistakes.
It's what you do after those mistakes that really matters.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about learning from those experiences and getting back on track.
Back to that path of truth.
Right. So as we wrap up this deep dive into Satyanishtha, I'm left with this one question for you, our listener.
Okay. I like it.
It's a question I'm going to be thinking about too.
Shoot.
If you fully embraced Satyanishtha in your own life, what would change? What would stay the same?
Ooh, that was a good one.
It's a simple question, but I have a feeling the answers might surprise you.
It's definitely worth exploring.
It is. So we encourage you to take some time and think about that. And as always, thank you so much for joining us on the Deep Dive. We'll be back soon with more fascinating topics to explore.